This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
All right, first rule as we begin to discuss the wildfires in Los Angeles, it is not a natural disaster. This is not a natural disaster. This is a man-made disaster. This was caused by incompetence. This was caused by negligence. This was Democrat rule in action. This was the result of insane Democrat policies. This is the fault of Gavin Newsom, of Karen Bass, of Kristen Crowley, the LBGTQ fire chief. I'm sorry. Gavin Newsom said we shouldn't politicize that. That means we shouldn't blame him. He's to blame. There's no other way to look at it. This is the fault of people who placed their woke policies over protecting the people, over preventing this. This was preventable. That means it's man-made. You could have prevented this, all of this destruction, this death, this disaster could have been prevented. And the thing that shocks me this morning as we begin is that Gavin Newsom is still governor. Karen Bass is still mayor. Kristen Crowley is still fire chief. These people shouldn't just be removed from office. They should be prosecuted. The damage here is just unfathomable. There, right there on the screen, is Pacific Palisades. That is in the United States. That is not Gaza. That is not Ukraine. That is Southern California. And thousands of people have had their lives ruined. And it didn't have to happen. This did not have to happen. Here's the latest from the LA Times, just updated an hour ago. More than 2,000 homes, businesses, and other buildings have been damaged and destroyed, and at least 5 people are dead in wildfires scorching communities across LA County, making it one of the most destructive firestorms to hit the region in memory. In the end, it'll be the most destructive. The 5 bodies were found in 3 structures in Altadena, where the Eaton fire exploded Tuesday night, giving residents little time to flee. It's estimated that more than 1,000 structures have been destroyed in the Palisades fire and another 1,000 damaged or destroyed in the Eaton fire. It is still burning. It is still going on. People still don't know, many of them, whether their houses are standing or not. Most likely they are not. And today they're waking up in hotel rooms, on friends' couches, in their cars, wondering what they're going to do. What do you do now? We're going to go through the whole thing. The incompetence is just mind-blowing. The steps they took that led to this disaster are it's just criminal. It's beyond wrong-headed. It is criminal. Gavin Newsom is a criminal. The good news, I guess, if there's any good news, is he's done. We don't have to worry about Gavin Newsom in 2028. That's not going to happen. We don't have to wonder, gee, should you have saved the water from the rainfall? Should you have filled the reservoirs? Should you have hired more firefighters? Should you have cleared the forests? Of course you should have. The reason behind this, the reason for this negligence will just blow your mind. These are Democrat policies. I mean, far left woke policies in action. And today you're going to hear people, Democrats, the media, blaming it on climate change. Of course, what else? Climate change. Well, I have a question, which is obviously utter nonsense, but I have a question. Let's just agree that the climate is changing, that extreme weather is more frequent. So what? If that's the case, why not prepare for it? Why not take steps to prevent what's happened this week in Los Angeles? Just say, yeah, global warming. Greta was right. Al Gore, John Kerry, they were right. Oh, the weather's more extreme. Well, you knew it. It was happening. No one took steps to change the weather, to pay homage to the weather gods and prevent something like, you knew it was coming. Anyway, you knew there'd be these Santa Ana winds. You knew that there would be bums setting fires on the side of the road. You knew this was a real possibility, and you did nothing to prevent it. You did nothing to protect people's homes, their lives, their community. These people in Southern California pay the highest taxes in the country. They pay for these public services. They pay for the fire department. They pay for their government to take steps to prevent this, to protect them. And they didn't. And the more you read, the more you understand why and how this was possible, the more you'll get infuriated, but you'll just be shocked. It is really shocking that these people were not protected, that this wasn't prevented. It could have been, but they're more concerned with DEI, with making sure the fire department has more members of the LGBT community. They're more concerned with what the Sierra Club wants. They're more concerned with protecting the smelt. Yes, the smelt. Minnows. That's why this happened, by the way, because Gavin Newsom wanted to protect the smelt and the salmon and the lamprey, whatever those are. That's why people are dead. That's why there's billions and billions of dollars worth of damage, why people's lives are ruined, why their homes are gone, because they wanted to protect the smelt. That is not me just going off the rails. That is a fact. That is what we're talking about here. Just absolutely insane, incoherent Democrat policies, Democrat initiatives. Where do you want to begin? Let's start with the reservoirs. They have not built a new reservoir since 2010. They have not captured the rainwater. They have allowed the water to run out into the ocean, water that they needed in Pacific Palisades, water that they needed to save people's homes. The fire department in the second largest city in our country, the fire department had no water. They went to the scene. They were there. There's 1,400 firefighters who are working around the clock, and they're running out of water. They have no water in America in 2025. A fire department doesn't have water, and these communities are on the ocean. The water is right there. They can see it. They can see the Pacific Ocean, but they have no water. One of the more shocking videos you will see today, the fire department, we have the clip, they're filling women's pocketbooks and cones, traffic cones, with water, trying to put out the fire because they can't get the water from the fire hydrants into their hoses to hose down the fire. Do we have this clip? This is unbelievable. This is a firefighter taking water, putting it in a handbag. Look at that. Trying to douse the flames. The other guy has like a bag. Look at this. A handbag running over to the flames in his LAFD jacket, trying to put out the flames. This is third world stuff. If you saw this in, I don't know, Ghana, where the mayor was when this whole thing began, you would say, boy, that's primitive. That's too bad. That's a shame. That's Los Angeles, a place that has wildfires all the time. And they have this huge wildfire, and the fire department has no water. Why did they build they tore down dams. Gavin Newsom was proud to say he tore down dams because they wanted to protect the smelt, and they wanted to protect the tribal regions north of the city. So the city had no water to protect the smelt and placate the tribal regions. All right, where else? Oh, they didn't clear the brush. They didn't clear the brush because the Sierra Club wants things to be natural. They don't want to forest manage the forests. This is something that's so basic. This is something that you have to do. Gavin Newsom knows it. He's from California. He knows you have to manage the forest, and they didn't do it. And now people are dead, and thousands of people are homeless today. It is the height of negligence. What else? Oh, look at this. The mayor, Karen Bass, this moron who was in Ghana for the inauguration of Ghana's president. Why is the mayor of Los Angeles in Ghana to begin with? She cut $18 million out of the budget for the fire department. So they cut the budget. Oh, by the way, they sent some of their equipment to Ukraine. Yes, they sent fire trucks and hoses and other equipment to Ukraine to help Ukraine fight fires. And now they lack equipment. Here's Karen Bass after this is one of the most remarkable clips you will ever see. This is an elected official, the mayor of our second biggest city, a absolute left-wing radical. Biden considered her. She was on his list of potential running mates. This lunatic. She returns from Ghana with her city ablaze, and a reporter, I believe from Sky News, corners her at the airport, and she just freezes up. She doesn't answer a question. Why are you? What are you doing? Do you owe your constituents an apology? She says nothing. She just freezes up. This is just so humiliating and so indicative of this blank, this empty person, this soulless, empty hack who has no answers for what's happened in her city. Go ahead, play it.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Look at her. Please, someone save me. She is cornered, I believe, on a jetway. Look at this. Now she gets home. She has time to think, prepare, probably lash out at her staff. And she does a press conference, I believe, early this morning. It's even more embarrassing. This is the mayor. And again, we'll get to the politics of this all, because many of these people who lost their homes, they voted for this. They voted for this person. They voted for Gavin Newsom. They want these people in, maybe not now, but they did before this. Here's the mayor, after having time to think and prepare and get ready, huddle with her staff, talking to people who lost their homes, lost everything, and telling them what they should do if they want help. Go ahead, play this.
Stronger than ever. Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles together is how we will get through this.
All right, I'm logging on right now, Ironhead. Let me go to URL. I need a home. I need help. I need answers. URL. Gee, there's nothing there. There's your mayor. That's who you voted for. Democrats. This moron who went to Ghana for some reason. Why would a mayor take a junket, take a vacation to Ghana? She comes home and tells you, log on to URL. So you have a governor who doesn't have, who make sure you have no water, no reservoirs, no forest management. You have a mayor who tells you to go to, you are a mayor who cut 18 million from the budget of the fire department while spending millions, hundreds of millions on DEI projects, on the homeless, on other failed woke policies and just far left agenda, while cutting the fire department and making sure there's not that many white guys in the fire department. We'll get to that. And then you have a fire chief devoted, her priority, top priority, is making the fire department more diverse, making sure there are more women and LGBTQ people in the fire department. It is utter mismanagement, incompetence, criminal incompetence from top to bottom. And what are we going to talk about today? Let's talk about climate change. Again, I'll give it to you. It's nonsense. It's ridiculous. But so what? So what if there's climate change? You know it. You see it. Oh, it's extreme weather. It's coming. And what do? Nothing. You let your city burn. You let your taxpayers, who are, again, paying the highest, you would think they could count on one thing. You would do something about the wildfires, which are inevitable, which are coming. You know it. You see it. You've seen it before. And you do nothing to stop it. You do nothing to save your taxpayers, your residents in the United States in 2025. This is, again, the worst man-made disaster we've ever seen. The worst example of what happens when you elect, when you support these insane left-wing lunatics who have the most screwed up priorities, who prioritize fish over people, who listen to the Sierra Club instead of competent fire experts and officials who know what's going to happen.
I know we're never going to be able to tell because Biden's almost done, but this isn't North Carolina. If the next bill comes out, does it go to Ukraine or does it go to?
Well, I don't know. They're getting $750 a piece. The people in Pacific Palisades who median income is $200,000. These homes, some of them are $8-10 million homes. So they're going to get $750 to rebuild. I mean, they're good Democrats. That's not the case in Western North Carolina. But Biden went there yesterday. He happened to be in the neighborhood. We'll get to that because it is just classic Biden. And once again, Trump was right. Trump was right. Again, he's not always the most articulate. He's not always the most diplomatic, but he is right. He's always right. And on this, he called it. You know why? Because he thinks like a normal person. He has common sense. Gavin Newsom has no common sense. Gavin Newsom is an ideologue. He's a lunatic, a left-wing nut who boasted and bragged that he saved the smelt and the salmon and thought it was a good idea to tear down the dams and not build reservoirs and not fill reservoirs. It was a good idea because he was protecting the tribal nation, a tribal region, and protecting these endangered fish. It is just madness, and we have to sit here. Last night, I was watching all the coverage. I can't help it. I'm a news junkie. I was flipping around. I got obsessed watching CNN. I watched for about 45 minutes. I watched for Scott Jennings, and over and over again, the guests and the hosts kept saying it's climate change. We got to do something about climate change. And I'm thinking, are you people insane? What do you want to do about climate change? This is a state, by the way, that has already banned combustion engine automobiles. I think by 2030, can't have a gas-powered car. They're doing everything they can to prevent climate change, and it happened anyway. What the hell does climate change have to do with it? It's sick. It's like a diseased mind who sits there, watches people suffer, watches them lose their homes, and says, we just didn't sacrifice enough for the weather gods. We didn't listen to Greta enough. We should have done. We used too many plastic straws. There are just too many cars. That's why the weather gods are punishing us. These are sick people, and they should be ignored, but good luck with that because they're everywhere, these nuts. We got much, much more to get to. We're going to get to Trump's really prescient discussion with Joe Rogan about this just a few months ago. By the way, Trump signed a bill to send water, to facilitate the water from the north to the south. Newsom filed suit to stop it, and Newsom held a session, I believe, of the House, or the State House, held a session to Trump-proof, the goal to Trump-proof their state before Trump takes office. That was his goal. Let's Trump-proof California. Talk about just Trump-proof a state when Trump is saying, here's what you have to do to save your state, to save your city. And they ignored it and sued him to stop it. God, this is just, it is just criminal. It is criminal that how the man is still governor, how she is still mayor. How are these people still in positions of power after this just incredible man-made disaster? We got much more to get to on this. And I don't even know if we'll have time to do anything else. We have so much here. And it's still going. Still going. People are still finding out. Their houses are gone. It's all gone. Everything's gone. Everything. Because we had to save the smelt. Yes, that's the bottom line. That's the real story. We got more, though. We'll get to it right after this.
Excuse me.
All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 Payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. I had a tale of two presidents. A few months ago, Trump was on Joe Rogan. Yes, he went on Rogan, freewheeling, 3-hour discussion, something Joe Biden could never do. Kamala Harris refused to do. Trump did it. And somehow the situation in California came up, talking about the potential for what we've seen this week, the potential for a devastating wildfire that would just destroy whole communities. What do you know? It happened. And listen to Trump talk about what could be done to prevent it, what they're doing wrong, why they're not properly preparing for the inevitable. Here he is.
They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You know, you could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, you know, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. And all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the dead fall.
And get rid of the trees that are fallen.
Yeah.
That, are
Okay, that's Trump. That's Trump. Just plain common sense. Just get rid of the dead trees, get rid of the brush, get rid of the leaves, bring the water down from the north. They did none of it. They did none of it. And I mean, they were busy. They were busy making sure the fire department was woke and diverse. They were busy spending billions on homeless, allowing them to have encampments where they have campfires. Again, no water, no reservoirs, no brush, no clearing the brush, no clearing the homeless, no preparing for what just happened. And they're still in office. Well, Joe Biden showed up. He just happened to be in the neighborhood. He wasn't there because of this disaster. He was there for other reasons, which we'll get to. But this this corpse shows up, and this is such classic Joe Biden. This is the man, an absolute narcissist who doesn't give a shit about anybody, suffering Americans. Just give me an example. One example in his term where he cared about suffering Americans in East Palestine, in Western North Carolina,
Ukraine,
in New Orleans.
Ukraine mostly.
Yes. On this day, by the way, he announced he's sending another 500 million in weapons to Ukraine. On this day, where Los Angeles is on fire and hundreds of thousands of people are suffering, we're sending another $500 million to Ukraine. He is just the worst, absolute worst. Well, again, when has he ever shown empathy for any Americans, for Gold Star families or angel moms? When has he cared about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungery or the people in Western North Carolina still living in tents who got $750? He doesn't care about Americans. He doesn't care about people suffering. He has no empathy. He's a soulless monster. He really is. I know everyone's focused on the great lie that he was lucid and coherent and mentally fit. That was a lie, obviously. But the big lie they've been telling about him for 50 years is that he's a good and decent man, that he's an empathetic man. He has no empathy. This guy is cold, just a cold-hearted narcissist. Here he is, as the fire's right outside his door in Southern California, in Santa Monica. I think that's where he was, with Newsom, talking about, this disastrous day. Here he is, looking at the bright side. Go ahead.
They got this notification yesterday their home was probably burned down. Today, it appears that maybe still standing, I'm not sure. But the good news is, I'm a great grandfather as of today. I have a granddaughter, a baby girl, a baby boy. So I remember this day for about a long recess. Deep breath.
If you couldn't hear the mumble and fool, he said, first of all, Hunter Biden didn't know what the condition of his house. Well, two things. His house burned to the ground, his house in Malibu. Second, it's not his house. He's renting. So who gives a damn? The poor owner, that's the guy that loses his house, not Hunter. Hunter doesn't care. He's renting. He'll rent somewhere else. He's got plenty of money. Secondly, he said he's a great grandfather. And that's the first time anybody has called him a great grandfather. And I guess, I'm not sure why he's acknowledging this child. His granddaughter Naomi had a baby boy. Don't even know what she had. But the kid's uncle's a crackhead and the kid's aunt is a former stripper. So why is he acknowledging this child? I'm not sure. But is that really the time to make an announcement that you're a great grandfather and get a round of applause? He is just, it's not tone deaf. It's just, everything's about him. Everything, whether he's, at the dignified transfer of the 713 servicemen that he got killed at Abbey Gate, or people in, New Orleans where he took a nap when he went to New Orleans after the terrorist attack. He doesn't care. He has no compassion, no empathy. He's just a monster. He really is a despicable human being. But speaking of despicable human beings, man, we got Gavin Newsom was asked by Anderson Cooper last night, what's with the water? No one has water. You know what his answer was? He threw up his arms and says, you're going to have to talk to the local folks. He passes the buck to the local folks, the governor, who took all these steps to make sure they had no water. He said, not me. That's up to the local folks. That's why they don't have water. You imagine having a home and your neighbor's house is burning, or there's fire, right next door, and it's coming your way, and the fire department shows up and they have no water. And you're looking out at the Pacific. I just watched a video of one of these planes that drops the water. They're picking up the water in the ocean. It's salt water, but they're using it to douse the flames. And you're looking out at the Pacific Ocean, and the fire department says, sorry, bub, I know you're paying, 13% state tax. I know your property tax are through the roof, and you can't take the water from there to here to save my home, to save my life. There's not enough outrage. There's not enough outrage because Gavin Newsom's not in jail yet. Gavin Newsom's not in prison where he belongs. There's just not enough outrage at what we're witnessing. There's not enough outrage that the fire department prioritized DEI. Now, I know DEI is dying. I know many corporations are dropping it. I know we're winning. We're winning on this issue. But we have to agree on something here. DEI, even if you believe in it, even if you support it, there are places where you can do it and do no harm. You could do it at some college and make sure you advance the career of Black lesbians or whatever, or gay guys in the department, the sociology. When you're talking about first responders, it's like surgeons or airplane pilots. There is no place, there can be no place for DEI. Merit has to be all that matters. The fact that they have a fire department in a city that is inevitably going to see wildfires threatening homes and lives. How does a person's gender, his sex, his sexuality, his race, how can that factor in? Go ahead, make the case. Anybody make the case. I watched this on CNN. Scott Jennings had a debate with Jasmine Crockett, that crazy congresswoman from Texas, and she's defending this, saying, "Oh, women can do the job. Women can do it as well as men, or Black women." Why does it matter? How can that matter? How can you say we have a fire department and what we really have to do is make sure we have more lesbians? What?
Well, Gerry, they take the fire itself's feelings into account. I don't think you were doing
right. Feel that matters. These are the top three, if you're watching along, top three officials in the LAFD. There's Kristen Crowley on the left. She's the lesbian woman who's the first lesbian woman fire chief. And there's her assistant fire chief, and there's the commanding whatever, the big woman there. Those are the top officials. They fired a bunch of white guys who refused to get the experimental vaccine. They fired them, hundreds of guys. And obviously, it's a tough place to advance if you're a white guy. Do you have the clip with Kristen Crowley, the fire chief, talking about her priorities? These are the priorities of the woman whose job it is to prevent what we just saw, to stop what we just saw. You would think, I don't know, fighting fires, saving people, saving homes would be all that matters. But no, her goal, the chief's goal, was to make sure they get more women in the fire department. If your house is burning and the fire truck's coming up the road, are you just hoping those responding firefighters are women or lesbians or gay guys? Or how where did we get to this point? How did we get to this point where this matters? Again, you want to play your little DEI games in the faculty lounge, go nuts. In the fire department, in a city that's threatened by fires every year or more than every year, and this is taken seriously. The media thinks this is wonderful, by the way. I watched a couple of reports. Isn't it great? We have a diverse fire department. These people are sick. These people are insane. Listen to this woman, the top ranking official in the LAFD. Go ahead.
I'm super inspired.
She took time out of her already busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? I say, I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 3,300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now. She's already looking at ways to change that. She's quick to point out that doing so has a greater purpose, attracting the best and brightest for the job.
They feel feel included, they feel valued, and they feel part of a cohesive team.
The chief also checks another box when it comes to inclusivity and diversity at this department. She's a proud member of the LGBTQ community.
That just kind of opens the door of people that thought, wow, I didn't even know that that was an opportunity for me.
Oh my God. And they did it. They made the fire department more diverse. So there's the good news. The bad news is thousands and thousands of people have lost everything. Thankfully, though, you know, those firemen, fire people, fire persons who showed up and had no water were very diverse. And this is DEI in action. DEI kills. This is death by DEI. This is what it is. This is incompetence, but diversity. Isn't that wonderful? Are we happy we got diversity? This should be the end of DEI, at least in these vital, life-saving jobs. How can anyone defend that? How can anybody think that was a good idea to make sure her top priority was DEI? The best example, you know what? Adam Carolla is on fire. I shouldn't say this. Say Adam Carolla is on fire. Adam Carolla, he was displaced. He lived in I don't know what neighborhood, but he had evacuated. He did a rant from his hotel room last night, which is just glorious. You should check it out. It's 5 minutes long, explaining in the rant. He explains how the homeowners are all going to turn red. I'm not sure about that, but these were Democrat voters, and I admit I can be kind of soulless in these instances, but I'm not happy that a bunch of Democrats lost their homes. I'm not. It doesn't bring me any joy.
Not at all.
It is sickening. I understand that the liberals are rejoicing because James Woods lost his home. They're happy about that. But, I mean, so did Eugene Levy and Billy Crystal and Paris Hilton and Anthony Hopkins and a bunch of celebrities. That makes me sick. I'm not happy that they were Karen Bass voters and Gavin Newsom voters. But I am hoping Carolla's right that they wake up and not only will not vote for these people again, but will demand that they resign in disgrace. And he predicts when they try to rebuild, they're going to turn Republican or become Trump supporters because they're going to have the worst time. They're not going to be able to get permits to rebuild because, as he says, a panel of fat lesbians are going to decide who gets to rebuild, and they're going to have all these environmental people in their ears saying, "Oh no, you shouldn't approve that permit," and it's going to be hell for these people, and they're going to wake up finally. Hopefully, they will. But here's Adam Carolla talking about when he was a young man and he was trying to join the fire department, and they said, "Sorry, bub, we don't want any white guys." This is DEI in action. Go ahead.
Geez, I want to talk about my white privilege so badly. I graduated North Hollywood High with a 1.7 GPA. I could not find a job. I walked to a fire station in North Hollywood. I was 19. I was living in the garage of my family home. My mom was on welfare and food stamps. And I said, "Can I get a job as a fireman?" And they said, "No, because you're not Black, Hispanic, or a woman. We'll see in about 7 years." And I went to a construction site and dug ditches and picked up garbage for the next 7 years. I got a letter in the mail sent to my father's house saying, "Your time has come to do the written exam for the LA Fire Department." I took it, and I was standing in line, and I had a young woman of color standing behind me in line. And I said, "Just out of curiosity, when did you sign up to become a fireman? Because I did it, or a person, 7 years ago." And she said, "Wednesday." That is an example of my white privilege.
That's reality. That's what's happening. Not just in LA, in lots of big cities. I mean, you see it. The fire chiefs, police chiefs, New Orleans, there are DEI hires in these vital positions, and people are dying. People are dying as a result of these insane woke DEI policies. Hopefully, this will wake people up. Hopefully, he's right. People will realize who they're voting for, who they're supporting. I mean, this just incompetent, pathetic woman is the mayor because all these people who lost their homes voted for her. Hopefully they wake up and say, no more. I'm not sure California's going to turn red, but how could they, if she runs for re-election, you're going to vote for her again because she's a Democrat, because she's a Marxist, and you're LA and that's what you do? There's not a lot of good news.
The reason could be right is they've been, the celebrities have been back in the left for so long now. If they show that they are not supporting them in return, they might actually switch.
Well, maybe. And we'll get to Massachusetts because I'm hoping, someday people wake up in Massachusetts and realize the kind of people that they're voting for and don't just vote. Can you throw that headline up from Pride, LA Pride? It's a gay LGBTQ publication in LA. And I saw this and I initially just looked at it quick and said, this must be from a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe when they promoted Kristen Crowley to fire chief. This is today in a LA publication. Amid Palisades fire, Los Angeles' first LGBTQ fire chief is proving lesbians can get it done. These people are sick. Proving she can get it done? In the same shot, in the same post here, we have the fire burning out of control. And the fire, they're saying lesbians can get it done. And the fire's still burning. And she's bragging about how diverse the fire department is. We have lost our way, man. We have lost our way as a country. Are you feeling good if you're sitting in, San Bernardino in a Motel 6, seeing your $6 million house gone? You're saying, well, good thing our LGBTQ chief is getting it done. This is the greatest example ever. And again, I'm taking no
Is there a
joy.
death toll yet?
What's that?
Is there a death toll yet?
Death toll is 5 right now. Probably going up. Death toll is 5. And wow, I'm looking at the assistant chief, Christine Larson, the big, hefty black woman who looks like she could, save you if you were stuck on the second floor. She could carry you out, Ironhead. I'm not taking that away from her.
And my dog.
She makes $400,000 a year. And her job is to push diversity and inclusion in the fire department. $400,000. The woman, by the way, in charge of the water department makes $750,000. A woman of color. Let's all be happy. She's a woman of color. She makes $750,000 a year. Again, I'm not gonna gloat, but they voted for this in LA. Let's hope, let's pray they wake up, because it ain't working. Despite what LA Pride says, it ain't working.
I don't think that's voting, though. That's just facts. That's what they voted for. That's what they get. I can still feel bad that it happened to them, but that's what happened.
If they're going to celebrate James Woods losing his house because he's a Republican, I'm not going to celebrate. Honestly, I don't. I don't feel good about it at all. I don't think, oh, good, that's what you voted for. That's what you deserve. You had a chance to recall Gavin Newsom, and you voted against that. Why? Is he doing a good job? Are you happy that he saved the smelt? Are you happy that he didn't build a reservoir, or that he tore down dams? He tore down 4 dams, which would have obviously contained the water, captured the water, which they could have used. Yesterday, the day before, they had no water. I don't see how you could have a better example of utter incompetence, negligence on the part of public officials. All right, we got more to get to on this Thursday. We got to get to David Muir. Yes, the media is out there, and they're crisis acting as they usually do. And this absolute empty suit, this vapid a-hole, David Muir, is perhaps the biggest embarrassment of it all. We'll get to that, and we'll give you an update on how things are going in Sanctuary, Massachusetts. But first,
Excuse me.
are you looking to cut costs and improve your business's bottom line? The best business operators have turned to Ramp to help them stop wasteful spending and improve their finance operations. Ramp is the corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money back in your pocket. With Ramp, spend policies are built into the card so you can prevent wasteful spending before it happens. You can customize spending limits and restrictions so employees are empowered to purchase what your business needs, and you have peace of mind. Ramp plays bad cops so you don't have to. Detecting policy violations, chasing missing documentation, requesting repayment, and locking down cards of non-compliant employees. Ramp helps you manage all your finance operations in one place. Card expenses, reimbursements, vendor payments, accounting automation, and a whole lot more. So you can see all your business spending in one place. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Gerry. Ramp.com/Gerry. That's RAMP.com/Gerry. Card issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Get $250 when you join Ramp. Go to ramp.com/Gerry. Here's an update. We got an update. I'm following the latest in LA. The fires, there is 0% containment. 0% containment. And they're celebrating because the woman in charge is a lesbian. 0% containment. This is what going on 3 days, 4 days, and they have done nothing to contain the fires. Nothing. This is just beyond criminal, beyond negligence. I don't know how else to even describe it. What's happening? Here's Donald Trump this morning. He posts on Truth Social, fire is spreading rapidly for 3 days, 0 containment. No one has ever seen such failed numbers before. Gross incompetence by Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. And Biden's FEMA has no money, all wasted on the green news scam. LA is a total wipeout. He's right. He's right. And Gavin Newsom this morning said, criticized Trump for politicizing the disaster. You know what that means? Blaming the people responsible. That's politicizing the disaster. Blaming the man and the women responsible. That to them is politicizing the crisis. Well, if you've been watching the coverage, it's just heartbreaking. It is just devastating. I mean, every news outlet is broadcasting from here's Pacific Palisades. That is incredible. There's not a house standing. They're all gone. All gone. That is billions and billions and billions of dollars. But the good news is we saved the smelt. Most of the anchors are just empty suits. We know that. They're just performing, but no one is worse than David Muir. God, I can't stand this guy, this Ken Doll, the one who did his best to help Kamala Harris in the debate, who lied and said crime was down, who fact-checked Trump over and over again, didn't fact-check Kamala because that's the deal they made before the debate. Here he is, broadcasting live from the scene in front of a burned-out building. And if you watch closely, God, this is hilarious. He turns, and you get to see the back of his little pretend fire jacket is pinned up with clothespins to make him look svelte, because that's what's important when you perform, when you're working in a disaster zone. Look at him. His jacket is pinned up. And doesn't he look good? Got to admit. No mask or goggles or hat for David Muir. Wouldn't want to mess up that hair. What a fraud. What an absolute fraud.
He's standing in front of this fire and he's like, well, everyone's going to notice that this jacket's big on me.
Right. I don't want to look, some poor intern, go find me some clothespins. Guy's rummaging around the embers, trying to find a clothespin for this asshole so he can look, slender in his live shot. God, I haven't watched him at all. I'm not watching him at all. I don't care. But what a freaking fraud. What an a-hole.
How do you not have any shame that you do something like that?
He got caught. There's some real snark online, on X, on Twitter, just mocking him and pointing out, think of that. He's getting ready to shoot this place where people have lost everything. And he's saying, can you find me some clothespins? I'm feeling a little bloated. I'm feeling a little, wide. So I can look a little sleek for my live shot? How's my hair?
I was carb heavy yesterday.
Why is he even there? Just go back in the studio with your 4 makeup artists and 6 hairstylists and do
This
your.
is like when they cover hurricanes and they're acting like they're about to get blown over, and then people are like walking their dogs in the background.
And Megyn Kelly tweeted about this, and she said there's something that Anderson Cooper wouldn't do. Here's Megyn's tweet. She writes, "The abject vanity. Why is he wearing a pretend fireman's jacket? Because he's an actor performing a role which makes the waist cinching clothespins in the back perfectly on brand. People are dying, losing everything, and he's worried about how svelte he looks. Can you imagine Anderson Cooper, Rick Leventhal, or Steve Harrigan doing this? I can imagine Anderson Cooper. Remember in New Orleans, we did a live shot waist deep in water, and it was people were walking right behind him, and his cameraman was on dry land, but he waded into a puddle to make it look dramatic. Yes, Anderson Cooper would absolutely do that, Megyn. Other than that, that is a great tweet. All right, we don't have much time for this, but I wanted to get to the story out of Massachusetts. It is, again, I guess it's consistent with our theme of this is what you voted for. This is what you get. This is the kind of people we're talking about. Our governor, Maura Healey, is not just a crazy left-wing activist pretending to be a governor, but she's a liar. Remember we talked about this. She claimed there was 15 incidents at the hotels for illegal aliens. She said there was 15 incidents where the police were called at these hotels. It's a lie. She's a liar. They released the official documents. I have them. I've gone through them. Some of them, there's 3,000 pages, but I was going through them last night. It is incredible what's happening at these hotels, which the taxpayers are paying, are footing the bill. So illegal alien criminals can deal drugs and smack around their domestic partners. There's a lot of domestic violence in these reports. There's 198 incidents where the local officials refused or denied a retainer request by ICE to take illegal alien criminals into custody. This is just Boston police declined to honor the request of almost 200 illegal alien criminals. And the crimes are just, we're not talking about, shoplifting. He stole a pack of Twinkies from the 7-Eleven. This is from the Boston Herald. The criminal charges included armed robbery, assault with a dangerous weapon, assault and battery on a police officer, possession of a firearm, possession of a large capacity weapon, assault to murder, distribution of fentanyl, trafficking heroin, indecent assault and battery on a person 14 years or older, possession with intent to distribute fentanyl, possession with intent to distribute cocaine, and trafficking of cocaine. These are the kind of people that the federal government, the ICE officials say, we're ready, we'll take them. And the Boston police and Massachusetts State Police said, no, we're going to set them free. That's your Massachusetts government, your sanctuary state of Massachusetts. That's what they do. They protect these criminals, these violent criminals, and they don't care that they're a threat to the community. They don't care about the taxpayers. That's where we are with 11. Is that where we are? 11 days to go? Yes. 11 days to go. And Tom Homan and his crew waiting in the wings to make the move and come into this state. Again, I implore you, Tom Homan, start here. We need you. All right, before we go, I need you to put up that Washington Post headline because this was a couple of days ago. I didn't get to it, but this is just where we are as Trump is about to take office. The Washington Post writes about Trump attempting to make a deal to end the war in Ukraine. Yes, he wants to end the war. That's what he promised. He said he would do it before he took office. I'm not sure he will. Here's your Washington Post editorial. Here's the headline. I've never seen anything this utterly insane. Again, these people are sick. They're just consumed with hatred for Trump. The headline says, Ukraine risks losing the war. A Trump-imposed bad deal would be worse. What? This was a couple days ago. What the hell is this? A Trump-imposed deal, which is the only deal you're going to get. Biden's not going to make a deal. He doesn't want the war to end. A deal to end the war would be worse than losing the war. This is the Washington Post, an alleged newspaper, the biggest newspaper in the nation's capital. And they think Trump, and he's going to make a deal, he's going to end the war. That's worse than not fighting the war, losing the war to a nuclear power. So they think it's preferable to lose, to have Putin march on Kiev, to kill hundreds of thousands of more Ukrainians. That's better than Trump making a deal to end the war. Get ready. These next 4 years are going to be wild because these people are just out of their minds. That is just, someone typed that, hit send. Someone wrote that. Making a deal is worse than losing the war. I mean, I knew they were just nuts and they were heartbroken that Trump was going to, end all the killing. But that is just incredible. Anyway, we will leave it there. We'll be back to following the fire, watching the DEI in action as the city burns. LA, the county, the area continues to burn. 5. I believe we have 5 fires now, 0 containment. That's where we are at 8:17 Pacific time. But we will leave it there for today. What a wild day. Thanks to everybody for watching and listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many thank yous.